time. It has a different meaning in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It goes backwards, forwards, it stops. St. Croix is rooted in history. So much of it still remains untouched.
I remember running on these streets as a kid. This shop was right down there. It opened the same year I was born. This is where the original Crucian hook was born. It's the symbol of these islands. And I wanted to have my hands in that very same history. I want to be able to pass it down to my family while still putting a new spin on it.
The U.S. Virgin Islands, we have an amazing culture that developed over time from all over the world.
St. John feels so untouched. Being underwater is like another world. There's no worries, there's no stress. I can just escape. This is my happy place. My passion for scuba diving came at just being fascinated with the water and wanting to be a mermaid. And this is the closest thing I can get to achieving mermaid status. Canadians just love being outdoorsy. We live for adventure, so we love anything hiking, being on the water, diving, snorkeling, and St. John has it all.
It's like some spirit is protecting the island and keeping them raw. The Makujumbi watches over the island. From up there, they keep the evil spirits away.
Get down.
The nightlife in St. Thomas is absolutely amazing. There's always something going on. Everyone comes together to dance and catch a vibe. We're always celebrating. We celebrate freedom, culture, the food, the smell, the music. It's always a celebration. The people here are probably the most priceless thing because they keep the culture going. There's so many different influences on these islands. Food from all kind of countries coming together in new dishes. All of us came from somewhere, but all that we call this home. The VI is a new melting pot. This is where the past and the future comes together.
Hello, and welcome to the Coaxum Report. I am having a bit of a challenge with technology today, so please forgive me. So how are you, Shannon? Welcome to the Coaxum Report. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Absolutely. So I want to kind of really just talk to you a little bit about who you are. How did you get to become a business strategist? Like, what is that? What is a business strategist? And just a little bit about where you are. And so we can talk about barriers and best practices and then end with some solutions. So, who is Shannon?
So most people, when you hear strategist, you hear a plan, but that's really just a small piece. I take a more holistic approach with my clients. That is
Mhm.
not just about your business, but your business needs to support your lifestyle. So when I
Right,
work with my clients, we identify, what do you want your business to do for you? What do
right.
you want your legacy to be? And then we focus on how you can live that legacy, because most people think legacy is what you leave behind. But my belief
Yes, yes,
is you need to live your legacy. What good is a legacy if you don't know what it is? When you're gone, you don't know what happens to it.
that's
So I
right.
really try to help my clients identify what's most important to them and restructure their business to support that. So we implement systems, we implement boundaries, we
Hmm.
learn how to really enjoy vacation and unplug from our business. So I try to remove them from the day to day so they can live that legacy.
Oh, see, this is good stuff. I mean, I talk to businesses all the time, Shannon, and one of the things that they struggle with is to unplug, right? Because basically, what happens now, especially in post-COVID world, is everything is connected, right? So you can
Mhm.
connect in your car, you can connect in your phone, you can connect on your vacation. So your vacation is no longer a vacation, but it's so important to really, one of my project managers, she called it a digital detox day. It's important to unplug and kind of just detox everything and then come back stronger, right? And so it's really important for you to kind of really push that for your clients, because I know what you find is that when your clients are burned out, they cannot operate on all cylinders, right? But if they kind of step back and refresh a little bit, it works so much better for everybody, for them, for their customers, for you as a consultant, a political business strategist, and for everyone else that's involved. Now, before we really dig deep into what that means, because I wrote a book called Peaceful Pondering, A Busy Woman's Guide to Inner Peace. And so I always talk about no is a complete answer and it doesn't need an explanation, right? Because a lot of times it's hard for us, especially as women, to say no, right? But you don't have to say, I could say, Shannon, Terry, can you meet me at the no. I don't have to explain I have to pick up my 5-year-old.
Nope.
Just no, it's a complete answer. And it's hard for us to do that. But before we get to that, because that's really important, that nugget is going to take us throughout this show. Before we get to that, I want to talk about Shannon. I want to talk about what got you into the political strategist hemisphere, so to speak. Like, how did you get here? Like, it's so many times that I talk to my guests, and I realize that a lot of this is, your path is directed strategically. Sometimes it's intentional, but most of the time you just fall into it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So want to kind of figure out, how'd you get to being this business strategist, phenomenal business strategist, to do what you're doing on the level that you're doing it on. And we're going to talk about that, because I think it's important for those that are listening to understand how you got to where you are, so that they can understand that they can also do something similar. And then everybody is going to benefit from it.
Okay. Well, I'll start by saying one, when you start a business, nothing is written in stone. You have the power to change whatever. And my business has changed, and this is my third business that I've started, but it's been the most successful because I've embraced being adaptable and being flexible. So, my first business, I was a event planner and ended up near burnout because I was working events all the time and I had a full-time job and I was an office manager and C-suite support for other small business owners. So I was literally working 60 to 80 hours a week,
Wow.
including weekends, and I had a baby. So
Wait, how did you get those hours? Because I thought we had the same 24 hours in our day. I don't know how you got those extra hours.
honestly, I cannot tell you how I did it, but it wasn't easy and it took a toll on my family life to the
Yeah.
point. I mean, things were really, really hard because I was being pulled in too many different directions.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized then I needed to shut that business down and take a step back.
Wow.
But then my daughter got older. She started going to school, and I really wanted to be home, with her in the morning until she went to school and then be able to get her in the evening when she got out of school, but I couldn't do it with my job because I was supporting the president, two vice presidents.
Oh,
They
wow.
didn't allow remote work, so I literally had to be there. So great, thankfully, my mother-in-law stepped in and helped with picking her up, but I just wasn't happy. I wanted it to be me.
That's
So I was
right.
having a conversation with my girlfriend, and she said, with all the skills that you have you ever thought about becoming a virtual assistant? And I had never heard of it.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So, logical person that I am, I did the research and identified, you know what? I could just take my skills that I have and start my own business. So I did that.
Wow.
But over time, again, I reached out to everyone that I knew that had a business. So that built quickly. So
Okay.
over time, it allowed me to start scaling back my hours at work, and they agreed at that point as times changed. I did some remote days so I could work my business at home. It allowed me to be home for my daughter. Things just started falling into place. But then I got too much business again because I became a Jill of all trades. I'm doing social media management, virtual support, and like all these things. Again, I just went through the same cycle. And I really just was like, I don't like my business anymore. So thankfully, I was introduced to someone who mentored me and helped me see the need to scale back. So I cut my contracts back and I kept two retainer clients. But I also saw that there was a need in the market for people. Everyone always says, outsource what you don't want to do. So I was getting all kinds of things that really were outside of my wheelhouse, but I didn't have the structure that I needed because no one tells you how to run a business. They just tell you how to start it, how to make money, but they don't, nothing explains the day to day.
Okay. First, I
So,
need you to stop for a minute. You
mhm,
have dropped so many nuggets. I can't just gloss over this journey as if it you could just pop up and do this. You talked about embracing, being adaptable, and being flexible. Those things in the same sentence don't usually happen. And then you talked about stepping back. Wait, hold on. I can do that. You gave yourself permission
I did. Hmm.
to step back. And then you did the research. So get ready, right? Be ready so you don't have to get ready.
Hmm.
Another nugget, you did the research. You found out about a virtual assistant. You started that business. Your network mattered. You reached out to your network because your network mattered. And in doing so, you were able to build and scale your business very, very quickly. And so the importance of embracing, being adaptable, being flexible, stepping back when you needed to, having the like-minded people in your circle, in your ear, in your network to be able to strategically guide you through this process is no easy feat. Like you're like, oh, I just no, 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 no. Wait a minute. There's some businesses out there that are struggling. Now, notice, so this show is like throughout all of the Caribbean, all the United States, and of course it's in that Southeast Asia. So all over the world, they're watching and listening to your story. This is not a typical story. Like this particular narrative that you are, or testimony, I like to call it, that you are sharing with us today is going to be invaluable to someone that is probably where you are right now or on their way to burnout, right? You gave yourself permission to step back. You opened up, you were vulnerable and opening up to your network and saying, here is what I need to do. Your network was strong enough to support you,
hmm
and that's really, really important, right? And then you talked about mentorship matters. So
It
not
does.
only did you have a network, you had a mentor. And that's also very important because you don't have to reinvent this wheel. None of us really do. There's someone out there that is able to pour into you what you need for that moment. And so for anyone that's listening to the show today, I want them to understand that being in the right place, joining the groups, being a part of your community board, your precinct committee, whatever it is that you need, you're going to find the like-minded people that'll be able to support you in a way
Mhm.
that Shannon was supported, right? And then, of course, just talking about now we're getting into the nut and bolts of business, which is running your business day to day. So you
Mhm.
just went through all of those nuggets. You about to gloss over them like, pause for a minute. We got to pump our brakes for 1 minute. because that's what this is about. Your experience is going to help others. And this is why I love this show. I love talking to small business owners that have actually put themselves out there, and you're a serial entrepreneur because you already told us you already had more than one business. So I'm interested in finding out the path to this. But now you're going to talk about something that is so important, and that is the day to day. So you're absolutely right. You can go to small business services here in New York, New Jersey. You can go to the small business development centers to learn how to start your business. You can learn how to grow your business. But most people don't talk about that day-to-day operations that can make or break you. So now we're here. You're in this day-to-day operation. Your heels are in the ground. You understand what you need to do. Talk to us about what that looks like and the support. First, the barriers, right? And then, of course, some best practices that you were able to utilize to get you through the day-to-day operations of running your business.
Okay. So I will be transparent and say when I started this business 12 years ago, even after being in business for many, many years, I still did not know the basics of running my business. So when I started as a virtual assistant, I didn't have the experience that I thought I had. You don't know what you don't know.
That's right. Okay, that's
So
a honest moment. I never knew, but I never knew.
So all the things that I share now are things that I experienced because I'm 12 years into this business itself.
So
But
congratulations. That
thank
5
you.
mark.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Even the first 10, because it really wasn't, it's been the past 5 years that I have really even streamlined my business and
Mhm.
got the knowledge that I need to run it more efficiently, working smarter, not harder. So my goal is to help 1,000 women do the same thing. And social media has us so focused on I need to make six figures and I need to scale and I need to
And
do
it doesn't
this.
happen overnight. That's not an
No,
overnight process. And if
it's
it
not.
does, you're not going to be able to sustain it. Because I tell people, I give people the lottery example all the time, right? You win $1 million and a couple of years somebody's broke. Why? Because they didn't know how to manage that money.
Mhm.
With starting your business, scaling your business, and making those six figures. Oh, you can do it, but there is a process. So tell us about what that process is.
Absolutely. So, unlike what everyone tells you, don't just hand over all the stuff that you don't want to do because some of the stuff we don't want to do, we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know where your money's going and where it's coming in from, you're not going to survive. And that
Mm.
is one of the biggest issues I have seen among small business owners. I work with a client she started a catering business. She made $75,000 her first year and had $0 in the bank and had no idea where her money went.
Wow.
No systems. And
Systems are important.
they are
Sys-
so important. Very. So I created my own thing. Like I love iterations because they drive the point home. So I have the 4 pillars of clarity that I go through, and that's just
It
one
depends.
of the
Oh, she
things.
got some more nuggets. She got
I
four
got some nuggets. Yes. The first thing you have to focus on to have clarity in your business, because the clarity helps you determine 2 things, and it's your mission and your vision. But again, getting back to that legacy,
Mm-hmm.
how I describe it is when you're driving your dream vehicle, that's how you build your legacy. That's your vision. That's
Right.
the long game.
Mm-hmm.
Your mission, the choices that you make daily, how you navigate that road in your vehicle, that's how you determine what your legacy is. Because those decisions we know along the route will determine whether or not you're getting to your final destination.
That's right. And you got to be using the right map, right?
You got to have the right map. So you got to have clarity in order for you to map out where you want to go.
That's right.
So the first pillar is time management and your productivity. If you are not intentional with your time, like you mentioned before, Terry, we all get the same 24 hours in a day. It's the one resource that when we use it, you can't get it back. When it's gone, it's gone.
That's right. That's right.
So if you don't plan, you don't efficiently use your time. And most people try to separate their business from their life, but you can't.
There's no such thing.
No
I
such thing.
they used to, and quote me all the time on it. They used to say to me, "Oh, how do you manage it all? I'm like, there is no such thing as a scale of management. It's integration.
It-
There's no balancing act here, right? Something's
mhm,
going to take priority over something else, and when it does, my time is going to change. So if someone calls me and say your 5-year-old is sick, everything gets dropped.
That's it.
I'm headed to get Andrew. That's how that's going to work, right? So, because I give myself flexibility in the sense that I'm going to integrate that into whatever else I'm going to do today to make sure that I still get my things done, but you're going to integrate, and whether it's family, whether it's business, if I have a deadline, then I have to manage my time so that Andrew is getting what he needs in his soccer
Mhm,
class or after school, whatever that is, so that I can have this time to do what I need to do. So you're absolutely right. Time management can be a myth. The myth of time management is that there's a balancing act. There is a
mhm.
scale. That's a myth. It's all about
Absolutely.
integration. And so you're absolutely right. You have to be able to integrate those things and be okay with not being able to get to your to-do list, everything on it. You should only
Mhm,
have 3 things on there anyway.
exactly.
Because if you have more than that, you're not going to get to it, and then you're going to feel frustrated and not accomplished. So
Absolutely.
that and productivity comes along with that. I
Mhm.
teach time management, so
You
this
know,
is
we could talk
one of
all day about it. But to your point, that's why my second pillar is work-life integration. I
my.
don't believe in work-life balance. There's no such thing. You can't adjust the scales to be even.
Nope,
One
never.
priority at a time.
That's
Like
right.
you mentioned, if life, everyday life is your priority,
Yeah,
then
life,
you
life.
plan your schedule accordingly.
Hmm.
You got a deadline in your business, then you plan your life accordingly. I I've seen too many people go, okay, I'm going to launch this big thing, and it's when their kids are going back to school and they have major deadlines, and it's like, how do you think you're going to get all this stuff done? You're not, which is why you're giving your clients subpar work.
That's right.
You're working when you're supposed to be present in the moment with your kids.
That's right. That's
You're
right.
always you live with you're married to your laptop.
That's right. Absolutely. And that doesn't work for everybody. I tell, I have a senator here in New York, and he said, just because you can bake cookies don't mean you should be a baker. Just because you can build furniture don't mean you should be a furniture maker. So basically, just because you can do these things don't mean you should go into business doing those things. And then going into business, one of the main things that you said in the beginning was making sure you plan properly. There's
Mhm,
systems that must be in place so that you are not the chief cook, bottle washer, and candlestick maker, because that will make you frustrated.
mhm,
I know for me, I do business consulting. Most of the time, my clients say, I want to go into business myself. I want to control my own destiny. I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And then a year in, they go, I hate it. I can't take vacation. I can't go. I can't do this. I can't do that, because they don't have the systems in place that allow them to do that. And
mhm,
so I'm glad to hear you talk about these systems, because even personally, my project manager is one of my number one people on my team, because she's able to create systems that we can put our clients in. And whether I won the lottery and went off to Jamaica, somebody can look into that system and see where that client is and get it done. It's
that's it.
very important to be able to do that, or you're not going to be able to sleep at night. You're going to be in your
Mhm,
bed thinking about things you did not do. So you got 3 things on your list. So let's back up. Pillar 1, time management and productivity. Pillar 2, work life integration, because the myth is balance. All right, keep
mhm.
going.
Number 3 is mindset. You can't do 1 and 2 if you're not willing to change your mindset.
Oh, I love it. Talk
We
to me
have
about
been
mindset.
because we've been brainwashed to think that we gotta be hustling all the time. My
Mm,
famous line is, "We're not a 7-Eleven, we don't need to be open 24/7."
woo! I love it. Not a 7-Eleven. Don't need to be open 24/7. I love it.
Mhm. So as you mentioned
Not being open 24/7 looks like. Because that's what we need to be able to demonstrate to small business owners. You don't have to be open 24, you don't have to be open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. But you do need to put these processes and these systems into place and make sure that your business is running itself. You should be running your business. Your business should not be running you.
and you,
That look like.
absolutely. So this comes back to those boundaries. As you mentioned, no is a complete sentence. I don't need to tell you why I said no. And there are different ways that you can say no, not at this time. I'm not available, whatever the case may be. But in the end, you have to have boundaries in place because it protects your energy, it protects that resource, your time, it protects everything. So one thing I always start with is going back to, what do you want your business to support? If you want to be present with your family and enjoy more family time, be able to enjoy your vacation, then your business has to have boundaries around it. That is, first of all, starting with two things: work hours and business hours. And they are not the same thing.
Ooh. Work hours and business hours are not the same.
They are not the same.
When you say work hours, I'm thinking work hours and business hours are interchangeable. You're saying they're not. Talk to me.
Business hours are the four.
And he's gonna get me, and I'm so sorry. We have to take a commercial break.
Okay.
So we'll be right back after the commercial break to talk about the difference between work hours and business hours. We'll be back on the Coaxum Report.
ICABA, ICABA, stands for the International Career and Business Alliance. And basically, it's really about building, activating relationships that grow wealth.
What is ACABA doing? ACABA is putting you in an environment where you can rub shoulders, you can actually talk to wealth creators, to entrepreneurs who may look like you, who may come from circumstances like you, who may come from an environment like your environment. And then once you go ahead and grab that baton, you might say, well, this is possible. This individual over here did it, and now I can do it. So ICABA is raising our level of vision, and they're doing a fantastic.
Welcome back.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Coaxum Report. So, I was trying to figure out if the technology was going to be better for us, but it's not. So it's fine. It's fine. So Shannon, I did want to mention that that our show is on Roku, it is on Amazon TV, it is on Android, and you can also download the app on our TV network and go onto the website and view our show as well. And of course, we are throughout the world, and so this is fabulous. I mean, I'm getting some. I got my pen out. I've been writing down notes. Being that I'm on my phone, I can't put it directly into my notes, but this is a great conversation. You started talking about work. Okay, first of all, let's back it up. So Shannon's given us four pillars. She started with three of them. And so time management and productivity was one. Work-life integration is another one. And now we're beginning to talk about work and business hours not being the same, because we had to figure out that there was a priority. We're prioritizing with our work-life integration. And so we understand that the myth is having balance. You're gonna
Mhm.
something's gonna take priority or something else. And so understanding that there is going to be some priority. And then the third one, we start talking about mindset, changing your mindset, right? And then she got into talking about work hours and business hours are not the same. Make it make sense.
Okay.
Talk about that.
So business hours, I can use the example of one of our favorite restaurants, Chick-fil-A. We all know Chick-fil-A is not open on Sunday.
Yes.
Their business hours are not changing for anybody. If you want Chick-fil-A, you better get there Monday through Saturday.
Hmm.
It should be the same for your business hours.
Wow.
Establish when you are open for business. That means taking phone calls, responding to emails, all of that when you're going to be present. And it doesn't have to be 5 days a week. My
Mm,
business hours are Monday through Thursday.
mm,
Friday is my open day to do whatever I want. And I
wow.
have established times. And then I have summer hours that I clearly communicate to my clients as well. We have to put those boundaries in place, not thinking we need to be available all the time. Because let's be honest, we've all emailed our client and we've had to wait 1 or 2 days for them to respond because they're out of the office. Why we feel we can't do the same thing, I never have been able to wrap my mind around. But that's why
Mm,
you establish those boundaries with your business hours. So even with responding to messages, like I go through different processes with my clients because there's a lot of mindset work that goes into how we operate our business. As we talked about with technology, we feel we've got to respond right away. We're all very impatient now because we've got these devices that
that's
have
right.
made everyone accessible all the time. That is irrational and illogical, and it's not fair to anyone to think that they're going to be available to you all the time.
Wow.
So even for emails and messages, I have designated times throughout the day, 3 times a day, that I check and I respond to emails. And I have specific processes for those 3 time blocks.
Wow. Back to
That's
process.
your working hours. When
Mm,
you plan your schedule, so pillar one, time management and productivity, I'm a huge fan of time blocking. So I have designated times through the day. First of all, based on appointments and things I can't move in my schedule. And then I schedule my working time blocks. That's where I assign the tasks, responding to emails, responding to messages, taking phone calls. And I don't take phone calls every day. I have an online scheduler that shows my availability in live time because it's synced with my Google Calendar, which has all personal and business appointments. I
wow.
only take calls certain times on certain days, and then the calls vary based on the day so I can stay in the same mindset. So I don't mix my calls up.
Okay,
That's
so I'm gonna pause for a minute. And this is something that that I always did and I still do. If it's not in a calendar, it doesn't work for me.
that's it.
And this is something that I really need businesses to understand, especially small businesses that are trying to do it all, right? If if someone's, and I say this and I say it gently because I've said it to my kids and to the point that they're like, okay, your piss poor planning does not become my emergency.
That's it.
Because when it does, everything that I have to do now goes in the back burner. And that planning and management that I put up front has to now it has to now take a back seat to whatever your thing is or isn't, right? So I need my
Mhm,
small business to understand, just like I had to make it a point to say, you gave yourself permission.
mhm.
I'm giving them permission.
Yeah,
to make sure that your clients or your partner, whoever their piss poor planning isn't your emergency. Someone cannot come and drop something in your lap. You know, in my prior jobs, I was working in government. So I was the SBA regional advocate for New York, New Jersey, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. And there's a whole team involved. And so sometimes things will happen and people just come drop the whole project in your lap. And at that point, I felt the responsibility of that project and I took it on and I ran with it, right? I was the deputy state director for Senator Schumer. Same type of thing. If something's going on, you drop whatever you're doing and whatever that thing is, you pick it up and make sure that the ball is not missed, right? And then when I ran community relations, when I was a project manager for DA Hines, same type of thing. I'm running my business for a reason. One of those reasons is I get to control my process. And in controlling that process, you control your calendar. And controlling your calendar, you control what goes in and what comes out. Just like, like I teach my 5-year-old, okay, guess what? You're getting ready to get ready for the holidays. You have too many toys. You have to decide what you're going to give to the folks that don't have any before you can tell me what you want to get off that list. Back in my day, it was like you couldn't wait for the Toys R Us big book to come and you were going through. Now he just goes on the computer and just say, I want that. This little boy's like, I need a drone. Why do you need a drone in your life? However, if you're getting a drone, some of that other stuff has to leave. So bucket it, right? Some goes in, some comes out. Not everything can continue to go in because then you're going to overpour and you're not going to be any good to anybody. So I love that. I love that you're using your calendar and you're using your systems. Like Google is a system. We use Google every single day. So using that Google Calendar, having that assistant schedule things, putting both personal and professional on the calendar. So things don't, there's not a conflict with anything. So that's really, really, really important. So I'm glad you're mentioning that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And boundaries. Have boundaries. Have boundaries and be okay with those boundaries. You shouldn't be going on vacation or going to the soccer game that you plan or going to the whatever, the karate tournament and then keep looking down at your phone. Because now, like you said before, you're taking away from that family time. And one thing that you said, and I loved it, loved it, loved it. You have to know where your business is going. You have to have that vision for your business because you talked about the mission, you talked about vision, you talked about driving a car, but more importantly, you talked about understanding the steps that your business is going in because that will allow you and the way your life is going to, because that would allow you to plan things that matter to you. Matter to you. You shouldn't be a robot. I remember driving my car to work and just driving my car to work, coming home, it became so robotic. I remember one day I had a doctor's appointment. I was headed to work.
Autopilot.
So this is extremely important. So now we got boundaries. We understand that there's a difference between a work schedule and a business schedule. I'm still floored by that one. Like I'm literally going to use this. I'm gonna give you credit. But I'm definitely going to use it because you have to understand that. One of my mentors, Reverend Dr. Susan Johnson Cook, she runs a group called Charisma Speakers. And she says from 10 to 4, I'm in the office. These are my office hours. And after that, I'm not picking up calls at 10 o'clock at night. Now I'm a professor at Medgar Evers College. So I hate to say, or maybe I'm proud to say, I get calls all the times. I don't answer calls all of those times. And another thing you mentioned, there's a process that you can send emails out the time you want to send them out. You can wake up in the midnight and decide that this project needs to be taken care of and write it all out, but then schedule that to go out during your office hours.
That's it. That's the key.
So folks are not saying, well, she's up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day anyway. At 5, she goes to the gym, so I could just call her. Oh my God, that's so important. Talk to me. All right. So we got this now. We got our boundaries. Mindset change is big though.
It does. It's a big piece. Yeah, because the fourth pillar is streamline your processes. They won't matter if you don't use the systems when you get them in place. So these 4 pillars really work hand in hand. If you pull out one, the other 3 are not going to work.
So it's like a stool. So it's supporting your business. So this is a 4-point stool. So all 4 is if you take one, you're going to teeter-totter. You're going to wait. Okay. This is good stuff. I mean, this is really good stuff. And I never really heard it put this way. That mindset piece is a huge, huge piece, but then streamlining your processes, right? And I think that is so important because a lot of time, and I'm sure you've never done this, Shannon, You're so gung-ho, you take this class. This class is going to change your life. You're going to use everything you learned in the class. You put the notebook in the corner and you never look at it again. So what was the purpose of using your time, your energy? And remember, we say we don't get our time back, and paying your money for something, your process, when you're not going to use it. So you're saying streamline your processes and make sure they work for you. And not and it's not a one fit all either, right? There's not a
No,
one fit all. So
no.
talk to the streamlining the process and how that really works in real time.
So in real time, I feel I work on the premise that there are 6 core systems that every business has to have.
The paper out again, guys. So we went from the 4 pillars to the 6 core systems. Okay.
Mhm. You have to have a file management system.
Mm-hmm.
You waste time if you can't find what you need to operate your business.
Speak.
Okay, that's one. You have to have a calendar management system.
Okay.
Really, it comes, and within the 6 systems, there are additional levels, of course, because there are multiple processes that go into things. But I'm gonna give you the 6 of them. You have your calendar management, your file management, money management, sales and marketing. That is a system. And of course, now that I know these and I need to say them, I can't remember what all 6 are. This always happens to me. It never
It'll
fails.
come back to you because as soon as you start talking about these systems, you know that the cores are there and you're going to come up with the cores. So I want to go to the file management system. And I have to be honest with you. Once you start building your business out, you'll realize that you have a lot of clients and you're moving a lot of parts for them, right?
Mhm.
My project manager is one of the I told you one of my number one time. And she saves a lot of time for me because she creates these systems and processes. One that I'm using now is pretty simple and didn't realize it's not as expensive. It's called Basecamp. So she literally is putting all of the clients in Basecamp and everyone can see what everyone else is doing across the board. I used to use Google Docs to do it, and
Mhm.
Google Docs wasn't as user friendly.
Mhm.
But I like to use it, especially when I'm doing my internships, because I can see when my students are on and off and what they're working on, and they can see who's working on what at the same time. So those are systems. Those are systems that you need to use. So that file management system is key, and I have to say, there's been times because I do certification. That's one of my main business offerings. I get businesses certified and then I help them get contracts, government contracts, and so that they can build and grow. And I got to tell you, they hire me because they don't have a file management system. They don't have their documents in place. And so I find a lot of times, and once I streamline the process for them, I can not only just get them that one certification, I'm getting them 2 and 3 and 4 certifications and contracts just by putting a file management system in place for them, putting a
Mhm.
calendar management system in place for them. Because one of the things that, that we know as business owners is your clients want the touch. They, even though it may be virtual, they still want to know that they're important and they're still on your calendar and that you're still working on their stuff. They're not just going to hand their money over to you and then say, well, when it's done, it's done. And you can get it done in record time. But if they felt like you didn't touch them, it's the way you made them feel, right? So
Mhm.
that is key, that calendar management system, right? And
And
then
that's why I'm gonna pause you because the next one, which these 2 go hand in hand, your communication system. How are you
ah,
communicating?
mhm,
Internally, if you have a team, and externally with your clients. And that goes hand in hand, as you mentioned. Is it easy for your clients to schedule time to talk with you? Do you have regular check-in calls with your clients? The worst thing is if you never talk to your client and you think things are going well, and behind the scenes, they're steaming hot and mad because you didn't do something, but you don't know what it is because you never talked to them.
that's right. That's right. And I think that's especially important in what I do with their certification process, right? So they can give me all of the documents. And then sometimes the agencies take a little longer than other times to process the documents. So they want to know, well, I gave you everything. Well, what happened? Right. So I am checking in with them constantly and consistently to say, okay, so you gave me everything on this day. Here's what the agency said. And then I show them, here's an email or a voicemail or a call and they're like, whoa, you're really working. It's so funny. I had a call yesterday from a client and he goes, oh, I spoke to a friend. I didn't even know they knew each other. I spoke to so and so and they got all their certification. They're really excited. When is mine? I said, okay, so first of all, he was first.
Wait your turn.
No, you're role playing Lane. He was first. He was different. And so then that made him feel really good because they're like, well, she's getting it done. That's number one, right? She's checking in with me, but there is an order to this. Like this isn't just like there's no 6-figure overnight. There is no automatic certification overnight. And quite frankly, I don't want one. I want to be able to know that once I get this contract, I have the capability and the capacity to do the work. So in order to do that, I have to check all of these boxes and make sure all these documents and license and certification and everything else that you need to do the work is in place to do the work. So good. So communication system, communicating is important. See, I told you they would come back to you. So we talked about the file management system, the calendar system, the communication system, and I have the sales and marketing system. And then, so talk to me a little bit about sales and marketing. Why is marketing important? I got too many clients. I don't need any more clients. Why is marketing important?
Because unless the clients are going to stay with you forever, you have to continue to market. And then if you don't have a sales process in place, which captures your leads and tracks your leads so that you can follow up with your needs, the fortunes, and the follow-up. So the two go hand in hand because you have to be able to keep people in your pipeline. And a lot of times, I mean, they say because of the digital age that we live in, we know what used to be 7 touches to get a sale. And now it's, last I checked, I think someone said 25. It's probably more than that you have to touch a person before they move. I mean, I've known people who followed me online for 2, 3, 4 years, and they're just making contact for us to start working together. But it's because I'm constantly in touch with them because of my sales and marketing processes that they continue. It nurtures that relationship. But you have to have those pieces in place in order for it to work, or that's the quickest way to kill your business.
Right. And that's why I needed you really to talk about that, because a lot of times people think that they don't need a marketing plan. They don't need a sales plan. And so that's important. And so I know our time is winding down, believe it or not, it's almost over. But the money management piece, I wanted you to touch on that because that's really important for us to understand. You have to manage your money. You said it in the beginning. You have to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. If you don't know your business, you can't be successful, right? So as we're closing out, talk to us a little bit about that money management piece. And then I'm going to let you have the final word on what next steps should be for our business that want to be successful following these. We had the 4 pillars and now we have the 6 cores.
Yeah. So the last system is backup. Backup all your stuff. Have an emergency preparedness plan. Because if something happens to you, I always say it's the head cutoff syndrome. If you walk out of your house and you lose your head today and there's no plan in place for someone to keep your business going, all that you've done is of no use.
Right.
Yeah. So now with money management, you have to track what comes in. And most people think, oh, I have to, invest in this complicated, software. You can use a simple spreadsheet. I use a simple spreadsheet. It tells me by date when things are coming out of my account, who it is, which account they're coming out of, and when I pay it. Then I have at the bottom additional rows to tell me what comes out annually. So I've got my monthly list and my annual list. I'm done.
That's it. And so, these you make them sound so simple, and they are when you have the right process and you streamline in the process and all of this. And so, I just want to thank you so much for being a part of the Coaxum Report, and I look forward to definitely having you come back and be on the show. That's Anthony. That's our producer, and I look forward to having you back. Thank you so much for
Terry. Not so fast. Not so fast. Not so fast. This was impromptu. I don't mean to embarrass you, but I would be remiss if I let this moment pass and not do this. So I want to be able on live television, on live radio, let folks know that Terry just received the Presidential Lifetime Award from President Joe Biden.
Wow. Wow.
Terry is a gem, and we don't want her to be the best kept secret. Terry was appointed. Terry was appointed by former President Joe Biden. I'm sorry, Barack Obama, as the small business advocate for New York, New Jersey, and Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. And for the time that she's done that, she has been a loyal, if you will, advocate supporting small businesses for the region that she was responsible for. But she had a special relationship with the Virgin Islands, and she's never wavered. So when she was the appointed small business advocate at the Small Business Administration during the President Obama's tenure. She worked closely with the Virgin Islands to help small businesses. And she's now under this president, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. She just received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement.
Wow.
And I couldn't let this moment go by. This is live television. As you know, we're all over the world. We're live on radio here in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And I want to celebrate you. I want to celebrate you because you are the best. And I just wanted to be able to come in and just let people know how incredible you are in terms of a talent. You've broken the ceilings. You've broken a lot of records, if you will. And, recently, Terry is the she's a market leader for SETI Case. She's the managing director for SETI Case in New York. And
back also case too, Shannon. Carol. Yeah.
And so when we successfully did the New York Summit on the New York Stock Exchange, Terry is the person that made sure that she coordinated with Mayor Eric Adams, and Mayor Eric Adams had us hosted and received at the New York Stock Exchange. And that was all Terry Coaxum being the leader for SETI Case, being the managing director for SETI Case in New York. And Terry, you just never cease to amaze me. You never cease to amaze me. You're doing some incredible things. I'm really enjoying this journey. But congratulations on receiving the Presidential Lifetime Award. And when you come to St. Croix in December, we're going to celebrate.
Thank you so much. So one thing I'm going to say, my definitive purpose in life, Shannon, and Anthony knows this already, is to empower and encourage others, period. So whatever I do is to God be the glory. And I'm really in awe at the places that God put me into so that I can be able to encourage and empower others. Your place on this show today has been phenomenal. It's like it's a really good place for my businesses, because you talked about the pillars, but you also gave them some cores. And so this is why I do what I do. Anthony can talk about, oh, she's great. No, I am great because of Shannon. I am great because of Carolyn Howell and because of Anthony, because you guys give me the platform to be able to come on and do what I love, which is to empower and encourage others so that I can die empty. Everything that has been poured into me, I just want to continue to pour it into others. So Anthony, though I love you.
Yeah, but I don't want you to play it down though, because receiving a Presidential Lifetime Achievement. I don't want you to kind of like playing it down here. No. This is huge. This is huge. We gotta celebrate this.
God, I'm just in the driver's seat and I'm just in the passenger seat and he's driving. So I want to thank you so much for that. And Shannon, oh my God, I'm still going to let you have the last words, because this has really been a powerful show. I'm sure your friends are going to be like, oh my God, this was great. And they're listening to us. So along with being on TV right now, you're also simultaneously on WSTX Bloomberg. And so you on the radio and watch you on TV, and then it'll replay on Tempo. And so you're going to have an opportunity. Your folks are probably going to be like, why are you in Trinidad on my TV right now? But I want you to leave with the last word. If you could talk to the small businesses that have tuned in today, whether it's been on Roku or Fire TV or Android, if they download our app, what is the thing that you want to leave with them? You gave them a lot of great nuggets. You gave them the 4 cores, and you gave them the 4 pillars, and then you gave them 6 major cores to be successful. You're a serial entrepreneur. You've done it. You know how it's done. You will continue to do it. I'm sure you're going to find another business as well. I'm sure this is not the end of the road for you. But what would you like to leave with our listening audience?
It's kind of twofold, especially with you getting the shout outs for the award and you're kind of downplaying it a little bit because you don't want to toot your own horn. This comes back to mindset. When you're achieving success on your own terms, which is the ultimate goal, don't be afraid to toot your horn. Celebrate your achievements, share it with others, do something special. We need to embrace when we're doing business our own ways. Who cares what everyone else thinks? Like when I started my business, it wasn't to make a 6-figure income. I wanted to make enough money so that I could buy all the coffee and wine that I wanted, buy shoes when I wanted, and have some extra money in savings without having to impact the income that took care of, the standard responsibilities. It's grown since then. So it always changes. Identify what that success means to you and ignore what everyone else has to say about it.
That's
They're
right.
not you. They don't live in your world. They don't walk in your shoes. So embrace your journey, put on blinders, and do it your way.
Right. And I tell my students all the time when they come to me, I said, what people say about you is none of your business. It's what you feel about yourself. And just like you said, embracing your journey, walking your walk, understanding we all came with very different toolboxes. And the way that we use those tools will decide how successful or unsuccessful our lives will be. And so I just want to thank you for reminding us to live in the journey too. Don't go too quickly. Don't close your eyes and say, let's get it done. Literally take the steps to enjoy the journey. And that in itself is success for me. You know, that's success for me. Being able to have you on the show today, being able to have you share your testimony with the listening audience is invaluable to me because you came with your own toolbox. You came with your own set of responsibilities. You understand what it means to leave a legacy. And I need all of my business owners to have that. They may not get to meet you in person, but they can listen to the show and say, hey, wait a minute, Shannon gave me some stuff. Let me use it. And so I want to thank you so much for that. And I'm sure, you know, we got Carol Owl in comments, so we'll definitely be in more in a setting again. But I really want to thank you for being a part of the Coaxum Report today. I will continue to enjoy the journey. I hope that you'll join me on this journey now that our paths have crossed the way that we have. And I hope that something was said or done today on the show will bless others that are looking to do what Shannon Baker has done and want to do more with everything that they have inside of them. So I want to thank you so much for being a part of that Coaxum Report. Don't embarrass me again, Anthony. Love you anyway. Take care.